and welcome to episode number 64 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, Guild Wars 2 podcast for fans by fans. This week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the game and living story, and this fairly interesting thread I found on the official Guild Wars 2 forums about will living story ever be related to Guild Wars 1 lore or Tyria as a whole. But I'm joined by Bromms and Naveen and a returning fan favorite. If you noticed the name of the show, you'll probably see.
We have Casey in the house.
Hello.
So welcome back, Casey.
Thank you.
I just want to let the people know on Twitch TV that it's actually not XSplit acting up, it's Skype.
Yeah.
So I was trying to fix a problem in the wrong places. That's awesome.
It's always good.
So sorry about that.
Always good. So, welcome back, Casey. We haven't seen you in quite a while. How are you doing? I'm acting
good,
like I don't
thank you.
talk to you, so...
Lag and I, we have no prior relationship except for this podcast.
Yeah.
This is the only time we ever interact, ever.
It's true. So, yeah. So how you doing? What's been going on? What have you been up to in game? How are you liking Living Story so far, without spoiling today's topic too much?
Okay. I haven't really been doing much in game. I'm kind of focusing on trying to get another legendary, and I got my ranger to 80, so I was going to get a kudzu, but now I'm really loving the mesmer, so I want to get my mesmer to 80 and get a quip or a minstrel, one of those. I think it's called the minstrel, yeah, one of them, because oh my god, the new updated quip is amazing. It actually shoots streamers. If you're on a thief and you've got two of them, it's just like a party around you. It's awesome. So that's what I've been doing in game, just really trying to focus on that and doing living story stuff. But I really like, I generally, there we go, got it in the end, really like, this feels like old school.
Yeah, I know.
Casey failing at a word, getting all excited over stuff.
Let's just wait for the technical difficulties of the robot voice and the freeze frame.
Yeah, the robot voice. I've got my cake as a lie ready for you. And for the living story, I actually right now, I'm going to be honest, I can't remember what it is. I don't know. I feel like it's just a mental blank. What is it again? Oh, Tuquaddle.
Yeah, that dragon thing.
Yeah,
It's one of them.
That thing. I got my it's Sab. Oh my god, I'm loving Sab this time around. So hard, love it, absolutely love it. And yeah, I've done a lot of like tribulation mode stuff, but for Tuquaddle, I killed him twice, and I feel content with that. Ready to move on.
You killed him twice?
That's once more than me.
That's crazy.
There you go.
I got him in a headlock, and I got him, and I gave him a noogie.
You stop making undead people.
You're bad, Tuquaddle. Bad.
So, the clever of you may have noticed we didn't do a question of the week last week, and I'm going to try to come up with some crazy reason that we did it on purpose, but I don't have one, so
Awesome.
nobody suggested it, and that was our bad.
Dog ate your question.
Yeah. Tuquaddle ate my question.
Exactly. There's something in
But-
the water, but it's not a question of the day.
No, that's true. It's not. All right, so we did receive one. We got a mail from Pirate again. He's been on the mail sending Rampage lately,
Yeah.
which is good. We like getting fan mail like that.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'll read it. Hello once again, dear host. In the last few days, I found some posts on Reddit about sites that may come in useful to people who play Guild Wars 2. First is GW2 patch notes search etc. This site lets you search through all patch notes ever, so this way you can easily find updates about the topics you want. Try it with a smiley face. Second is divinitiesreach.com. This site, like a few other sites, lets you see all the events happening on a server, but this site has an edge. You can make it give spoken notifications of the type events in certain areas or all events. Don't try this. My sister did it and got a headache. So many events in Guild Wars 2. So you won't have to alt-tab anymore. Which is kind of nice if you think about it, to be able to have an audio update when something's happening. So very cool. Especially if you don't have a dual screen set up. That's pretty sweet. And the third is a new song from Charm. And he says, I bet Joel is going to like this. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's Quaggan related. Yeah. Did anybody watch it?
No, unfortunately. I haven't yet.
Hymn to Malagan, it's called. Which, for those of you who don't know, is the Quaggan deity. So,
JJ.
And the last thing is, and finally, when I was bored behind a computer this Monday morning in school, I was on the Guild Up GW2 Red, I found this. See pictures sent with the mail, JAL and Memory Burn. I checked, and it was really them. COT is everywhere nowadays, huh? Anyway, this is my email for the week. Back to my video addiction. Yes, we do have people pretty active on our Reddit. Some of our members are pretty quick to post things as soon as they happen. So, yeah. Thank you, Pirate. We appreciate it. All right, Naveen. This week's show.
Oh, this week's show is brought to you by the meme. Which meme? This one.
Naveen's face.
What if I told you community managers have nothing to do with game designs and or coding?
I love that one.
Stop hating on the bad people. On the wrong people, I mean. Not the bad people. They're not bad.
Hate on the bad people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to understand that how companies work is that people are separated into different jobs, and those people that have different jobs have their own assignments, and typically they don't work on other people's assignments.
Hey, no.
That's just so
How
everyone
funny would it be if a dev, like, he comes up to a guy who does, like, he does, I don't know, coding for the events, and he comes up to a guy who does the artistic work for certain stuff, and he's like, I got a complaint from a member on the internet saying that they don't like your skin, it's boring, so I'm just going to take over it now, okay? Like, okay, thanks, okay, bye. And, like, some guy who's meant to be doing, like, code is trying to color in stuff.
Yeah, seriously. So...
Yeah,
the people that take care of Twitter and Facebook and all the social medias, they have nothing to do with coding, so stop it.
Yeah. Stop picking on them.
Yeah, specifically, yeah. I'm not even going to name... sorry, not going to name names, but... Yeah, just stay away from the community managers and the people that are in charge of that usually have nothing to do, and they're only posting the information that they're receiving. So...
and it's their job to post it, you know. They're not like, oh, stop posting on here and go and do work on, you know, the New Living Story. It's their job to post it. They have no, you know, their purpose is that.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you didn't want, you'd be complaining if you didn't get the update. Like, oh, the game server's down for X reason. You'd be pissed if they didn't tell you that was a problem, and you'd be like, oh my god, something's wrong with my game, and maybe you try to uninstall it and then reinstall it, and really, if there was nobody there posting to the Twitter or Facebook or whatever, you would just be going out of your mind. Or you'd be like, oh god, they have such bad community managers, they don't tell us what's going on.
Moral of the story is community managers are heroes.
Yeah. All right, so again, if you're listening to us on iTunes and you want to watch us live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/Chronicles of Tyria. We love all you guys out there downloading us on YouTube. We definitely appreciate all that support. But if you want to watch us live, sometimes fun things happen like giveaways, and listening to a giveaway that's mostly visual based doesn't really do much for you guys. So, yeah.
That's okay. I love the people on iTunes.
Yes. And again, just a quick reminder, if you want to stay up to date with what's going on with us, follow us on Facebook and find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, that kind of stuff. We post there pretty regularly if something's going on. Gonna work on being more active with our Google Calendar so you can see when if we're gonna cancel a show or something.
You have a Google Calendar?
We do.
I'm kidding. Oh,
I would hope so. But anyway, on to shoutouts. Anybody?
me.
Naveen, go.
Yay. Oh, I lost my Google document. Who cares? I didn't have any shout out, right? So I do have one that I'm gonna make just, up. I'm gonna make up just now. This week, and I didn't tell any of the hosts because I wanted it to be a surprise, but now it's kind of ruined.
We can act surprised.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, guys, act surprised. I invited Matt Visual to the show, to interview him. Yeah, and but he accepted. But then there was a mix-up in the messages, so I was kind of waiting for another answer, and then nothing happened. So Lag was like, "Hey, Casey's gonna be on the show this week." I'm like, "Okay." So I think he's actually in the chat room right now. I'm sorry, Matt. I feel kind of bad about not inviting you to the show 1 minute before we go live. So, but yeah. So the next Thursday that he's available, he's gonna be on the show. So
Awesome.
Right.
cool surprise.
Definitely.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I feel like I should start, what's it called, tapping my fingers like, I stole his butt.
I did a little pinky.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we definitely look forward to that. That'll
Absolutely.
be amazing. We get to hear all about how fun it was going to visit ArenaNet and going to PAX and all that.
Because I'm not jealous at all. Nope.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
I'm not freaking jealous at all.
All right.
don't
Bromms,
think I have
did you have anything else, Naveen? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine. No, I don't think I had anything else.
Okay. Well, we can circle back.
No, I don't
Brown.
have anything else.
Yeah, I don't think I really have any shoutouts this week.
All right. No
Yeah.
worries. Casey?
Well, you know what? Even if I did have shoutouts, my internet is going so fuzzy right now and I'm so scared it's going to turn off. So I'm going to say I don't have shoutouts because if I do have shoutouts, internet's just going to go out. So no, I don't have shoutouts.
Yeah, Tully in the chat here says, Bromms, I think you have a shout out to Zormos.
Zoro.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna.
Summer.
Yeah, I finally got a precursor today for the first time ever.
Oh
I'm
my
really,
god,
really
don't
excited.
sound so unenthusiastic.
No, I am really excited. I saw it when it popped up in my little loot thing on the side, and I was like, wait a second. So I had to go and look on the trading post, and I went, yeah! My headset didn't fall off then. So, yeah, I'm really excited. Thanks,
Bigger,
Zomaros.
bigger question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to use it for a legendary, or are you going to sell it?
I am probably
Shoot.
going to sell it because
What's it looking like you're going to get out of it?
gold. I don't know other.
Well, a roundabout numeral. I'm curious.
I think it sells for like $550 right now.
Very nice.
Yeah, really.
Dang. Nice.
Pretty sweet.
Gonna make it rain.
Right.
I make it rain, I make it rain.
Should it probably be more like making it hail since it'd be gold coins?
Yeah.
True.
Probably death incurred as well.
All right, I have a couple of shout outs. I have one to Kalana Gree. We were playing, I was running around with a group of people in World versus World. And, I'm sorry, it wasn't World versus World. It was doing the Dwayna event in Ore. And it got to the point where, Malcor comes up the hill and you're beating up Malcor to drive him all the way back to the statue. And he's at that part where he's like, oh, what did I do? I built this statue to protect it from corruption and all that. And he's going off about it. And somebody goes, what did you do, Ray? And then somebody goes, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And then I followed underneath that and said, we used to roast Stay Puft marshmallows at the fire by Camp Wakanda. And then that was the end of it. And then somebody went, all right, Lagwan's gone bye-bye now. Egon, what have you got? And I was like, you made my night, my friend. You have made my night. So, Kalana Gree, thank you very much. That just, couldn't even, there are no words for that.
That's from that Ghost Smashers movie or something like that, right?
Yeah, Ghost Smashers, Face Busters, I don't know, something like that.
Something.
Naveen, are you okay?
No. There's a huge spider. And it just came down from the ceiling.
You can't talk to Casey about huge spiders. That's like...
Listen, I'm in Canada. Spiders are really tiny and they freeze in the winter. Our winter lasts like 9 months, right? Okay.
So just turn on your air conditioning like really high.
It's under my subwoofer.
Freeze it out.
My air conditioning is upstairs.
Throw an ice cube under it. What could go wrong? I'm trying to help. Wow.
It's hiding somewhere, but I don't.
Oh my God, Naveen is right above you.
In my sleep. Why is my husband not here to protect me? I'm gonna die.
Paranoid that when I kill a spider, like his friends are gonna see, and they're gonna come and get me, like, or round up their spider buddies in the middle of the night. They're just gonna carry me off and like make me tribute to something.
Is it like spider rumbles? You know,
I don't know where it went.
Yeah, come get Casey. That's what I imagine. That's what it's like in Australia. The Jets and the Sharks, but it's, you know.
Fuck.
Just remember, Naveen, it's more scared of you than you are of it.
I don't think so.
Did you see that finger?
I really doubt it.
She did. She almost Z-snapped me. What the heck is this?
You know when you know that there's a big ass spider in your house and it's hiding somewhere?
I think I know exactly what that's like, considering watching it right now.
Yeah, everybody's watching that live.
Yeah.
Nobody's saving me.
Podcast.
Guild Wars 2. I'd also like
I'm
to
not a
shout
spider
out
slayer.
to Bromms, because we did film, and this is more of an update as well. We filmed episode 1 of COT Versus. I have the footage after the mishap of filming the whole thing, and it stopped recording like 95% out of the first 2 out of 3 battles. That was fun.
Yeah.
And now we refilmed it. I have all the footage. I just need to edit it together. But that will be coming out. And again, I say it in the video, but the plan is right now, until we get our, figure out more, because we've been going 64 episodes, a ton of lore. We were doing 2 lore shows a week up until the game launched. So we're petering out on a lore topic that can run for a whole show rather than like a short little. Maybe the lore bites will make a return for those of you that were fans. But we have a couple of things we want to do, but to spread that out and to not rack our brains so much, we're thinking we're going to do lore show Wednesday, then the next Wednesday it'll be the verses, then it'll be the lore show, and they'll alternate back and forth until we kind of get a better handle on if there's new lore or the living story actually ramps up to the point where we want to talk about it.
I'm so sorry. I am petrified of spiders. I'm sorry. This show is going to hell. I looked away and it disappeared.
Terrible.
I'm sorry.
If you'd like to get some COT-based merchandise, you can visit CaptainPress.com/COT trading post. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have mouse pads, we have men's shoes and onesies.
Shoes that can stamp on spiders, as a matter of fact.
That's true.
I feel like this is like the news reports you see where the news reporter keeps powering through while people behind are like going crazy or like doing this sort of motion.
Alright, so on to some news. Just a little bit before we talk about the patch and the kind of main topic of the show. Pretty big news, actually. Major League Gaming, MLG, has announced that Guild Wars 2 is going to become part of their lineup. So those of you that want to be professional gamers and the PvP side of making Guild Wars an actual esport, MLG has picked it up and adopted Guild Wars 2 for the next coming season. So that's pretty huge.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's awesome.
Who's
if you're really
MLG?
good, Major League Gaming.
Oh,
It's the Major League Gaming conference
Yeah.
that most.
yeah.
So that's your chance to make some money playing Guild Wars if you're good at it. PvP wise, anyway.
It's also good because it gives Guild Wars 2 a lot more exposure and credibility from a PvP standpoint.
Yeah, because Guild Wars and ArenaNet had talked about from the beginning about trying to develop Guild Wars 2 as a legitimate esport. And let's be honest, without an observer mode and the ability to have it be shoutcasted and things like that, you're not going to be able to have and be an actual esport. So with the development of custom-based arenas and shoutcasting features and spectators, it's good. I still think Guild Wars 1 had a better spectator mode where people could just load in from anywhere and watch it. But hey, man, tens of thousands of dollars is something.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say,
It's
Katie?
They can do that
interesting
now.
because the first game was originally like they were talking about production, and it was originally started out as just a PvP game,
Yep.
and then they changed it and made it some PvE. But obviously, PvP is actually their passion, especially the founders' passion. So I wonder if it would make them quite happy and proud to be part of that, and maybe they'll focus a little bit more on it.
No, it's definitely. I mean, I love Guild Wars 2 PvP. Hell, I'm in the process of starting a PvP kind of based show. Assuming we get some more fan support for that. But let episode 1 come out, and then we'll let you guys judge that. But yeah, I'd love to see some love for PvP, and it's a big step for ArenaNet and for Guild Wars 2. So kudos to them. It's a really big deal. So good job, ArenaNet.
It has come a long way since the game launched too. They've added quite a bit, so it's definitely on the way to becoming better.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd love to see more maps. I like that they're working on a map that removes the water from the Kodan Temple entirely. That's what they. I don't. Oh, that's another thing from the previous state of the game. The devs have a version of that map that they play in testing that doesn't have water because they hate underwater combat. So the devs
Nice.
removed the water from that level. So funny. They said that might show up at some point.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think it's just like a waste, like sand at the bottom. And maybe now they've also developed jump pads and things like that, so that might make it easier to get back up to the top, that kind of a thing. So I do like Skyhammer. I lied. I like the conceptual, like the concept of Skyhammer with the jump pads and teleporting. I hate the map.
So I just played Skyhammer for the first time the other day, and I fell to my death so many times.
I mean,
it's an interesting map, though. It's kind of a cool idea.
If you've got access to several knockbacks, you can be literally killer on that map by just knocking people off ledges onto the fake glass things, and they fall through. Like I said, the concept is great. My personal preference, not so much, but interesting game mechanics within a map like that I like, rather than just like, you've got to keep Lord or kill Svanir or the ogre dude. But anyway, next up, again, we'll talk more about this when we talk about the news we have for Twilight Assault, but we did get 2 new items in the gem store this week. We got the Deathly Die Pack, which when I think of death, I think of black, not green. Because for those of you who don't know, it's similar to the Flame and Frost Die Pack, where you buy 1 die for like 125 gems, and you have a chance of getting one of 24 or 25 different dies, 6 of which are brand new dies, specialty dies, but they're all different shades of green, like toxic or corrosive or acidic or swamp black. Swamp black is green, in case you didn't know. I've been to... They're not green, they're black. Most swamps.
Yeah, when I looked at that die pack, for some reason, I have no idea why, probably because of the swamp. I actually thought it was for the swamp behemoth. Like, you didn't make a connection between it and Tequaddle. So I don't know why on earth I thought that.
And I don't think it's. I mean, maybe it is tied to Quaddle. Deathly to Quaddle. Deathly also kind of gives me a Halloweenish vibe, and we are coming up to October. And then you also have the Bone pick, which is another unlimited pick similar to the Molten Mining pick, but it just kind of looks. It reminds me of like a Tequaddle wing, basically, without like the flesh there, and it has like a kind of grayish black kind of, I don't know, particle effect. I don't know what you'd call it.
Ichor.
Yes,
when I first saw it, I thought it was red and it was blood. Like, I first thought it was dark blood, and I was like,
wow.
Then someone's like, oh no, it's just black sludge. I'm like, oh, okay then.
Take that, Rock.
The Rock is like, no.
But it, so it's cool, and it kind of gives me that Halloween vibe. But I'd rather have more. I'd rather be able to distinctly say that it was Halloween related and not Tequaddle related, but it could really go either way. But this is me. It's almost October. It's my rant about how everything should be about Mad King Thorn. Get used to it for the next few weeks until Halloween, at least till the middle of October patch, October 15th patch, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that came out, and the other one, and I think Naveen might have received enough composure to answer this next piece, because I don't know.
I'm still freaking out. I don't know where it is.
All right.
What's up?
Well,
If we see
how
it,
about yeah, if we see it on the wall, we'll let you know.
It's on my desk.
We did have a lot of updates from our writers, our COT, the COT Chronicles of Tyria fanfiction and stuff. We've had a lot of updates. I just figured maybe you would like to kind of talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've been bringing in new writers and new editors. We are going on a very, not strict schedule, but I mean, it's
stricter.
It's really updated much more often than it was before, of course, because of how many writers we now have. But everyone is, writing up to their fortnightly schedules. And, we have amazing editors, and it's pretty cool. So there's going to be new stuff coming into the website soon. Not spiders.
Halloween, though.
Halloween, though, yeah. But, I mean, if you want to have every updates, just, sign up to our Facebook. I mean, like our Facebook page, sign up to our Facebook. Oh, my God. Like, you can see that I'm very distracted. Facebook.com/Chronicles of Tyria, where every time a writer writes up a post and it's published, well, you'll be able to know. Or just subscribe on chroniclesofttyria.com. And everything.
We do have an S feed on Chronicles of Tyria, so that's definitely. So I would recommend that if you want to keep up to date. We have been. It's been a pretty hectic. You can also, if you sign up for like if you subscribe to COT, if you go to the main page and subscribe to COT, you'll get them in email form as well. So
yep.
You can actually, I think you can read you can get like a little preview of the story in your email. So. Yep. Definitely check that out.
And they're really good stories. We actually have one of the writers she published multiple books already for Angry Robot Books. So, and she's very awesome. So, go there, read up.
Yeah, we highly, highly recommend checking out. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of updates.
Yep.
I'm glad we're not doing COT Weekly anymore, because that'd be half of the update would be Casey talking about COT news. But anyway, that's good. I would highly, highly recommend you go check that out.
Yeah. But Facebook.com/Chronicles of Tyria has memes.
Yes.
So if you like memes and you love Guild Wars 2, just go there. Love us.
Yeah, actually, if you like what we were posting at the beginning of the show. Also, I want to point out too, this is a shout out I forgot. Someone on the there's a lot of subsections of the Guild Wars 2 forum that I don't ever seem to come across, because I just never, like, ever since they updated the forums and broke stuff out, down towards the bottom in the community section, there's a fan-generated content section, and it has like all stuff about different things that fans have made. And someone put a Guild Wars 2 meme section, and Fishbait, one of our he's always usually watching us here live and stuff like that. He posted a link to the Chronicles of Tyria Facebook page in there for a list of
awesome.
Guild Wars 2 memes.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Thanks, Fishbait.
yeah. So check that out as well. Definitely, if you like memes, if you have memes you want to submit, send them to us. We'll post them on our Facebook page
Yup.
and give you all the recognition that you deserve.
Damn straight.
Uh-huh.
Unless it's really mean and insulting and has a lot of F-bombs, then I'll just go like, no.
A lot of F-bombs. How many F-bombs can you fit into a meme?
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I guess so.
Approximately 7.5
No.
F-bombs.
Nice average.
You actually had something you wanted to mention about GuildWars2Live.com, actually.
Yep, guildwars2live.com are looking for new streamers. So if you like streaming and you have your own personal channel, they're building up a schedule. So just go to guildwars2live.com and you'll be able to see the post. Basically, if you don't want to go read, but I suggest you do, you can always send an email to peter@guildwars2live.com with all the specifics. That's it.
All right.
Go stream. I don't know where the spider is, so
I'm sorry.
no, you're not.
She's gonna spend the whole episode just rocking. Spider, spider,
There's a spider. It's in my room.
It probably ran away because it was like, I don't want to interrupt you guys anymore. Sorry.
It's a
That
Canadian
ain't
spider.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a Canadian spider. So it's like,
Yeah.
sorry.
I didn't mean to terrify you. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no. They're really deceitful.
Please accept my 8-legged apology.
Bromms or Casey, did you guys have any news or things that you read that you wanted to bring up?
No, there really wasn't a whole lot this week. Yeah, I can't really think of anything other than what we're going to talk about later. So,
Casey?
No.
Nice.
All right. Well, I guess we'll kind of jump into this topic that I kind of came up with a couple days ago. I'm going to post a link in the Twitch channel for you guys to check out. But it was basically this person kind of ranting, but more. I feel it was pretty well written about, will we ever see Guild Wars lore or Tyria, more information about Tyria, through the living story? Because as you know right now, and to paraphrase what they said, it's more random story than living story right now. Because the story seems, and again, we've all been reassured that all of this has something to do, it's all tied together somehow, but frankly, I haven't seen anything that ties anything together, and I'm not really convinced that it'll be the answer that I want when the time comes and it'll convince me enough. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But right now I don't feel like that. So I think that the living story is more just kind of random bits thrown together that'll hopefully, get strung together concretely and not just some like, oh, it's Scarlet all along.
Yeah.
Scarlet
Mwah.
and magic. Oh my god,
Mwah.
Scarlet.
it's going to be awesome when Scarlet turns out to be Traherne cross-dressing.
What?
And Traherne is actually
Just wait for
Abaddon, and Abaddon was actually the Forgotten, and that's
Who directed this? M. Night Shyamalan? What a twist!
Yes, exactly.
Wow. No.
So, did you guys get a chance to read through this at all? This thread?
Yeah.
No.
So what are your, at least the first, I mean, I don't know how far down you read, but out of just what that first person said, how do you guys feel about it, and what do you guys think about it? Or I guess maybe we should paraphrase what he said first. Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, he basically was saying that his opinion of the living story stuff has been that it's kind of what Lag was saying. It's all a bit random, and that it doesn't have any tie-in with the lore from the first game or from anything that happened in between that game and this game, and that it's all kind of newer stuff, and that there's a whole treasure trove of lore that they have and locations that they haven't really touched on, like the Crystal Desert, stuff with Cantha, stuff with Glint. So he or she is afraid that the living story is going in a direction that's away from the lore of Guild Wars, and it's kind of going off in its own random direction. So.
Yeah, I think that would that's a pretty good summation of what's going on. And he kind of lists off the story. He says instead of getting that kind of original story as originally kind of advertised, and it's true, we did kind of have the feeling that we were just going to have this wealth of knowledge of Tyria, and our minds are just going to blow up with all this craziness. And I mean, and you can kind of, one of the best examples, I think, aside from the cynical view of our show sometimes gets, but everybody loves Wooden Potatoes. If you watch his videos prior to Guild Wars 2 launch, like how crazy excited he was about what could be, and doing videos, sometimes 3 videos a day, it almost seemed like crazy. And then it came out, and then there was the excitement, and then after like a month, maybe after Halloween is probably a good time, I would say, that it was just kind of like the lore videos stopped happening, and it was just like, I don't really know how I feel about this story. It's not really going anywhere I want. And the living story has picked up, and as I've mentioned through, and he's mentioned, through some of the short stories they post on the website, you get that lore, but why can't we have that in the game somehow? Like, let's play through that rather than read it on the website. So, other than that, he said, we get Molten Alliance Aetherblades, Crystal Desert Merchants, Festival and Lion's Arch, Rigged Election, Jenna gets her party face on, and more Molten Alliance and Aetherblades. And
Jenna has a party face?
I guess.
What does it look like, a derp face?
Yeah, I guess so.
It looks like the smiling on the broom face. Updated it.
I'm on a frying broom.
And I guess he says, the above-mentioned content releases, 1, are not a story, 2, do not add to the Guild Wars 2 story missions, 3, have nothing in common with each other, 4, have nothing to do with Guild Wars lore, and 5, do not permanently change Tyria. So that's kind of, so that was a little bit there, a little bit of the overview of the initial, before it blows up with 1 million people commenting on it. So what do you guys think? Those of you that, Naveen, did you get a chance to read it?
No.
Okay.
I can't read anything when I'm sniping for spiders.
Okay.
Sniping.
So, Bromms, how do you guys feel about this? What's your opinion on this? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's a little premature to say that they don't connect and that it hasn't permanently changed things. I think in some ways I agree with the sentiment, because the living story has seemed pretty fragmented, and I know we've talked about how as it is right now, it doesn't seem to all fit together, but they have promised us that it's going to fit together by the end of the year, and we can kind of see that with Scarlet. Like, obviously Scarlet is a major player in what's been going on, and I imagine, based on what we've seen, that she's the tie-in with everything that's been happening. And we also have to remember, the game's only been out for a year, and if you look at other games, it's like the content we've been getting is very abnormal in a good way to what a lot of other games get. Because like when you play World of Warcraft, for instance, that world is the same for years until an expansion comes out. So I kind of get where he or she is coming from in regard to not going back to the older lore, but it's also important that they add new stuff. This game can't just be about Guild Wars 1, because there's a bunch of people that have never played Guild Wars 1, and they've explored a lot of that stuff in Guild Wars 1. So I think it has to be a balance of old stuff and new stuff. Because if they don't add anything new to the game and any new lore, then where are they going to do? What are they going to do with it years down the road? You know. So I can see where this person's coming from. I just don't know if I necessarily agree. The one thing I definitely like, though, that they put in here is that they said that they'd like to see ore separated into 2 different zones.
Yeah,
so
I
if
agree.
you've done the living story and finished it, when you go to ore, it would be cleansed. And then for new people that haven't done that story, or for old people that have like some way of going back in time or reliving the past or whatever, they could go back to the old ore and kind of replay that. And I think that would be really cool, because then we see the actions we're doing are actually having an effect on the world, more so than what they have so far.
I just want to say, in the chat room, there's Evie Bot that says, "Hell, compared to Guild Wars 1, prophecies made no sense for a long time to most people." I agree. Then Live Spartan said, "Oh yeah, wasn't I went to the wiki and then I was like, oh," which is very true. That's how it went.
Yeah.
And then we
And
had
I mean-
factions and all. So
I mean, people could make the same complaint in Guild Wars 1 about factions or Eye of the North, or that one with the loner that I never played, Nightfall. It's like, oh, you're not adding on this lore of Ascalon and Kryta. You're just adding a whole new area. You know, you can make that adding new lore with the Tengu and stuff like that. You're just creating new stuff, and I don't agree that creating new stuff is bad. And I also agree with Bromms in saying that if you focus way too much on the old stuff, you miss opportunities to create new stuff. And to me, it seems like that they've written a story, or they've had this concept, a really cool idea, and then they've gone, okay, we need to do setup for this story. Like, you can go, oh, Scarlet is this really charismatic or evil person who summons these different groups together. But what groups does she summon? Like, she pulls like these 2 different alliances that really have nothing to do with each other. But what alliances are these? Like, we have to make up, who these are, and then like also the Zephyrite. Oops.
got a
Don't
call,
Sorry,
Casey.
my phone. Sorry, Mother. But the Zephyrite, why on earth would they bother adding these little tidbits of lore about Glint in if it didn't have something to do? Like, if they clearly made sure we knew that the Zephyrite had something to do with Glint. Clearly, like, over and over added these hints and stuff like that, and they're not going to expand on that. Like, obviously they want to add little like placeholders, and I honestly feel like this is kind of the prelogue to
Got a message.
what the big story, and they kind of do have to set up, because if they just throw us into a big story, we're going to be confused.
Yeah, I mean, I see both of your points, and they are very well made points. Did not discount that at all. But again, the opportunity to make new content as a developer is always fun. I look at it though from, again, on the Guild Wars 1 side and the nostalgia side, but I think of it in this way. Okay, so whatever, we have Scarlet, we have all these things, they're in there. We can't. There's no point pretending in the what if they never happen, because it's too late now. It's already here. Unless they really try to retcon it and it was all a dream, which would be the worst.
It was all a dream. We're back to Tyria the way it was at release.
God.
Yeah. As long as the trading post prices go back down to release, I'll be okay with that.
The gem
Yeah.
exchange.
Yeah. So, but I feel like if you did bring in things like Glint or the Mersat and the White Mantle and things like that, people that don't know the story, it won't affect them. Like, oh, there's this other dragon that we kind of learned about. Like, I mean, Glint's a bad example because we know a little bit from the story. But, like, we bring in Glint's baby, and there's a whole story based around that. And holy crap, new players are going to be like, oh, this is really cool. Old players' minds are going to be blown because they're going to be like, holy crap, this is so cool. I can't believe I knew about this. And then the new players are going to be like, wait, New about what? And you'd be like, oh, if you go back and play Guild Wars Eye of the North, you'll be able to find this. And they'll be like, well, crap, maybe from sales point, they'll go back and play it. Maybe they'll just look up YouTube videos of playthroughs, more than likely. But maybe they'll go back and play it. And it would get people to go back to Guild Wars 1. Which, as far as ArenaNet's concerned, isn't a bad thing if they buy the game, because that's on just full autopilot. So it's not like more players rushing back to Guild Wars 1 is going to divert them from Guild Wars 2. So I'm looking at it more from that perspective. But I see what you guys are saying.
I think the strongest complaint that resonates with me is the temporary feel of the content. And we've talked about that, and I know that they've done a good job of fixing that in as much as they can so far. But I know, like, one of our complaints for a while was just that you'd have these events that would last a month and then they were gone, and you're like, what's going on? Like, that just happened for a month and now it's gone. But yeah, I think aside from the temporary nature, we don't know what they have in store for us next year. I mean, who knows what this whole Scarlet thing is going to bring. And I'm sure that they'll go back to Guild Wars 1 stuff eventually. I think they had a story that they wanted to play out at first, and that's kind of where they've been taking us. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm looking back through this thread as we're kind of discussing it, and like you said, I think probably the absolute best thing would be the splitting, and this is kind of reminiscent of Guild Wars 1. If you complete it, again, I always harken back to this, the Winds of Change update, where the Afflicted are removed, and now you have the Ministry of Purity as like these stone kind of soldier things, and replacing those enemies for you when you go in if you're the party leader. But if you went in with somebody else who was the party leader, then they would still have, if they didn't finish that, they would have the Afflicted. Which is kind of what they're saying with Ore, which I think is the best way to do it. You complete the living story, that's complete. Now parts of Ore start to cleanse, and they can have a team working on slowly cleansing Ore. And then, like, let's say you're playing on an alt, or someone of your friends is going and they're going to Ore, and you party up with them. Well, now it's old school Ore. I think that would work.
I think that presents them a lot of problems. I think that it's really easy to say, and from making a game standpoint, it's not so easy to say, because it is an open world. It is fully open world, and to completely deny a part of the world just because they haven't finished their personal story is denying, denying a part of the game which shouldn't, it shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't ever deny parts of the game. And so, it's like forcing crafting. You shouldn't force people to do things they don't want to do. And that's what their motto has been. And so if it's really hard, to do that, and the only way I can see them doing that is that after a period of time when they would be releasing an expansion, because I honestly think ArenaNet will release an expansion, that they will have a build-up to it. And the build-up would be, okay, so this is going to be the end of this content. Zaitan is not the thing anymore. It's been a long enough period now that everyone should have played with the game. We're releasing our second expansion, so now we're going to slowly change Ore, and the living story will be about changing that area and then moving on to the expansion, which will be the next dragon or a new area. But for now, you have to remember that they have to keep the game stagnant for people in a certain way, stagnant for people who are just starting, who have just picked up the game, and they're going, oh, Zaitan, I feel, if they go through their personal story and they get really into it, Zaitan's this awful creature, and Ore does feel an awful battleground with undead and horrible things if you listen to the dialogue. And if you change that to like beautiful scenery or, something like that, it's going to not resonate to them. It's going to be like, what's going on? And it's the same with Tequaddle. Just because Zaitan is dead in your personal story, they can't take him out because, other players haven't dealt with that yet. And people who are starting just now haven't dealt with that yet. So even though they did in the living story say, bash the dragon, we're celebrating that we defeated Tequaddle, if people who weren't really listening so much can just pretend, oh, we're celebrating that we can defeat the dragon or something like that, So, it's hard for them because they're boasting about a living story that's changing and moving the world. And at the same time, they do have to keep it stagnant for them. And it's a very difficult topic. And I love the idea because I would like to see a beautiful orb. I feel like I've changed something. But at the same time, I know that if I run through that area with ults or something like that, it's not going to make sense.
Someone who was at Live Spartan just posted an interview that Colin Johansson gave. It looks like it was back at the beginning of August. But just one part here. The interviewer asks, is Ore stuck in time, or could it be affected by the living story? And he's basically saying that one of the things we'd like to do is try in the future to avoid the situation that the personal story put them in, and where specific maps become locked in time. So they're aware of how it affected it, and so hopefully in the future they'll be able to get content out that is kind of more malleable than Ore is right now.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naveen, what do you think?
Mike, I think we need a mic. Mike. Oh my gosh, you did a
Hey, what's up? I muted my mic because my chair was so noisy when I kept rocking back and forth. Anyways, yeah, I just said I had a kitten butt on my shoulder. I don't care, to be honest. I'm enjoying the game as it is, and in Guild Wars 1, like when, the hype came with Guild Wars 2, oh my god, they're making a sequel, they said, guys, it's not going to be like Guild Wars 1, it's going to be a completely different game, except it's going to be like an open world, and you're going to be able to play with your friends. So I agree to some extent that, you have to stay to lore, you have to stay true to the lore, and you have to at least have to make a connection because it happens in the same world. It's the same history. You still have the same history line. So, but I honestly don't care. I just want to be able to visit places I've been to in Guild Wars 1, and whether I'm battling Scarlet or, stuff that happened in Guild Wars 1, I'm okay with it because it's an awesome game. So
the ultimate difficulty is that, especially with Guild Wars 2 being as popular as it is that they have to cater to people like us that really like the lore, and people that just want really, really high numbers when they swing their weapons, and people that want all the new stuff that comes out, and people that don't care. Like there's such a wide variety of people to cater to that it's really hard to make all of those people happy.
That's very true.
I think so in some ways. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, because Bromms said, they're trying to make everyone happy. And I remember the first few months of the game release, that's what they were focusing on, making everyone happy. And it really kind of backfired on the community and on them. So now they're really going like, okay, guys, we had an idea at first. Of course, we're going to make some people happy about, some certain stuff, just like, the difficulty of SAB. But I think they calmed down about it, which is a very good thing.
I think there's something to be said too that, and I'm guilty of this just as much as anybody, but we don't necessarily have to be happy with every single thing that happens.
That's good, because most people aren't.
Yeah, we shouldn't expect to be happy with every single release that gets put out, because they are trying to cater to different groups of people. So, I might not particularly like how the Zaitan fight works out, but, there's a ton of other stuff that I can do. And especially with releases every 2 weeks, it's a very short wait of time to get to do new content that's not the stuff I don't like. So,
yeah. I think something else should be said as well, in junction with the way people react to content they don't like. It's perfectly, like you said, okay to not like stuff. You have to kind of be considerate in this fact that you're not going to be like everything, and there's no way that any company in the entire world is going to do everything that you like. But you have to remember that there are people behind this, and there are pretty good people who are very well meaning. Okay, not every person in ArenaNet is like a wonderful person. But I really enjoy playing Guild Wars 2, and I support the gem store. I don't support gem stores in any other game, but I support the Guild Wars one because I honestly believe they are a good company, and they are trying their hardest. And I believe that there's actually good people behind it. And when you make comments on the forums and stuff like that are so hate-filled, and you're insulting someone's hard work and the stuff like that, it's I don't think people remember that there's actually people behind it. There's actually someone who worked really hard on that project. There's someone who really is proud of what they've done, and that sort of thing. So just because you don't like it, maybe try and step back and look at it from a point of view of, maybe I don't like it, but it doesn't mean that it's not good, and doesn't mean that I can be a horrible troll about it, that sort of thing. Because I think if people actually looked at it and went, oh, that's actually a person, like they went, oh, my words are being actually said to someone who worked hard. How would I like it if I worked hard on something and someone said that to me?
On someone. Hi-yo.
If you put yourself in their shoes, I think I think people generally would rethink what they say.
It's hard to find that balance, because everyone has an idea in their head about what their perfect game would be, and a lot of people seem to feel that that's how the game should go, which I can understand. Everyone wants to play their ideal game, but yeah, it's I think it is sometimes too easy to criticize too harshly, and some of that comes from being passionate about the game. Like, we all love the game. Criticisms are usually in that vein, not not just to be mean, but unfortunately not everyone is that way. But yeah, it's a hard balance between everything that comes out you just fall in love with, and being just a jerk because things aren't your way. So
I would like to point out one last thing from this thread, and again, take this as you will, from a guy named Tom Gore on the thread here. And I think he says, I just put a giant smudge on these glasses. Wow. The thing I was wearing glasses, I was going to put my thumb in my eyeball. Anyway, so he says, people are talking about, maybe they should remake Zaitan, they should remake this, that, and the other thing, along with Dormag, Shatterer, to make them better. Obviously teeing off of Tuquaddle's update. And he says, and I agree with this, no more remakes. We need to fill out blurred spots on the map. We need new zones. Complete full zones filled to the brim with heart quests, dynamic events, metas, and then in bold, all the stuff we all love to go through when we level to 80. We also need new weapons, skills, professions, and races. Professions, I'm going to cut that one out because I don't believe that's realistic. We need new crafting disciplines and more recipes added to the current ones. We need new complete dungeons with 3 or 4 explorable paths on top of the story mode. We need guild halls, guild versus guild PvP, player housing, more emotes, animations, items, and tools for the role players. We need more game modes, more maps, and more custom arena options in SPVP. We also need different map for each Borderlands and more functionality for commanders in World vs. World. What we don't need is more of this living story bull stuff. Thank you for changing it from Kitten, ArenaNet. Or maybe that was just he wrote bull stuff, I'm not sure. Or bull kitten. Call it bull kitten. That doesn't have anything to do with the Tyria we have all grown to know and love. We don't need more mini-games. No one will miss 1 week after their introduction. We don't need more temporary festivals that involve timed events with nothing more than zerging with all your server plus several overflows. And then, final statement, in bold, give us what we really need and I promise we will drown you in money.
If only our community managers would get working on that stuff.
Seriously, guys. Ruby. WTF. Make that happen.
Yeah.
But I think that is kind of a testament to all of the things that people would like this. Like, it's an interesting blanket statement to say no more mini games, because a lot of people really like the mini games.
Yeah.
They might not love them. They might have issues with specific mini games, but to completely take those out, I think would be missing out on opportunities. Because I mean, look at things like Super Adventure Box. That's not really a mini game, but it kind of is. And like Crab Toss, I know a lot of people complained about Crab Toss, blah blah blah. But there's potential there that just because some of the games before haven't been perfect, it doesn't mean that we should just scrap the whole idea and get rid of it. It just means that it's something they can improve on, and then we'll have those things to do. So, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that post, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I definitely think that they need the expansion format. Living Story is good for maintaining players, but they definitely need an expansion. I'm so convinced that after a while they'll be like, yeah, expansion.
And again, I've made my what's it called? I've made my complaints about the Living Story. I like it. I like the concept of it. I don't think it needs to be every 2 weeks. I think that's a little much. I think I'd rather, and not to demean anything that they've done, because it's amazing what they've done. But think about it this way. If you knocked it down to one a month, right? Back to the way it was. One a month with all of these teams working on it. Imagine how much shit they could put in the game with that whole team working with a month's worth of time. And you've got 4 teams, so you've got 4 months planned out. You know what I mean? That each team gets a month to build their content, and then the next team's building the next month. And then it's a little less frequent, but it's bigger things. I feel like that might make the players happier, because it's not like I have 2 weeks to do this and then it's gone. But it also allows them to still have this constantly updating world, but allows them to drop more content or I don't want to use the term quality, because what they do drop is quality, but, more robust content. What do you think?
I think it, just in our group of 4 people here, I think it proves how hard it is for them to try to make everyone happy. Yeah. I think one thing that I've noticed that most people can agree on is that the direction they're going now is a lot better than what we thought back when the game first came out. Because I know there was a while there, and I go back to like around December for me was when I was really nervous about it. There was a while that everyone kind of thought like, what is ArenaNet doing with his game? And it wasn't looking completely positive then. And I think now we can look at it and say, I mean, if you look back to where Guild Wars 1 or Guild Wars 2 was a year ago, it's a lot different than where it is now. And that's only within the span of a year. And most games aren't like that. So I think another year and another one it's going to be improving. And every update might not be perfect or good even, but I think long term it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I think it's important also to remember that they are doing something completely new to the industry and to them. To them, they have, always box sets. They never really did kind of continuous living content. It's completely new game, and to them, it's something completely new. And you're not going to get it right on the first time, and it's probably going to take a few years for them to perfect what they want to do. And to expect them to be perfect at it right now is a little bit unrealistic.
How about you, Naveen?
I concur.
Oh my gosh, that cat is so lovely. He's just flopping on you. He's just hanging.
Yeah,
He's just hanging on you.
She's very, very hanging full.
Good talk.
So cute.
All right, let's close this out with a quick.
Hey, there's your question of the week. We should ask what people think about that.
What do people think about what I just said? Question of the week. Let's get a jingle.
Jingle. Here's your question of the week.
What Bromms said.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's kind of close this out. We'll go over we had a little bit of a preview of Twilight Assault, the patch that's coming out next Tuesday.
Yeah. And for all you doubters, it was Cave and it wasn't Sylvari. So
Damn you. I was like, okay. Whatever.
You need a I'm right dance. Like,
I
Gross.
don't.
Alright.
Oh, I do that dance all the time.
I just don't. Let's go through it, right?
All right.
So we learned first about this a little bit from the Scarlet's Briar Twitter, is where she posted it first. So again, similar to Lord Vanquish from the Super Adventure Box, check out Scarlet Briar. Also, feel free to check out Lord Farron. He's got a Twitter account too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd like
So-
to point out that the Logan Thackeray, though, is not a real account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably ran away when it was created. So
Oh, he went there,
sorry to be.
and it was glorious.
Sorry.
I used to like you, Bromms. Why do I say that every episodes now?
I know. Sorry.
So, we got a little bit. It says Twilight Assault. Lion Guard intelligence reports. Intelligence reports have been pouring in regarding suspicious activities in the Twilight Arbor. Nightmare courtiers are still pursuing their dark agenda, but now it seems like Scarlet is hatching some new plots as well. The Sylvari hero Cade is troubled by these rumors and put out a call for heroes to put a stop to Scarlet's machinations. It'll take a daring group armed with sharpened wits and blades to infiltrate. Wow, I'm having trouble talking. Twilight Arbor and put a stop to the mischief that's a.
Speaking of sharpened wits,
Yeah.
Nice.
Tongue. Bleh. Anyway, that's a new level 80 path for Twilight Arbor, a new explorable path. Which sounds pretty interesting. I'm excited to see a dungeon update. I think that's kind of necessary, and it's done in such a way, and it's grainy. It's done in such a way that it's not going to disrupt the existing content, but it adds more. And Wooden Potatoes did a whole long video on this, but I kind of think that it might. I kind of like this concept of updating the dungeons by adding additional paths to them,
definitely.
rather than destroying them and revamping them.
And the last couple dungeons they've added have been progressively better and more interesting, I think, in my opinion anyway. So I'm really looking forward to this because I love Twilight Arbor. It's one of my favorite places. And yeah, it hopefully it's going to be as cool as the other last couple have been. Plus the nightmare weapons look really neat. So I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
It looks like it's using a lot of holograms and stuff in there because it's Scarlet and she's a little bit technical. But I reckon they're going to use that as kind of a basis to go, oh, Scarlet's abandoned her lab, but, they still need people to go through it. And so it might become permanent that way, because there's holograms. It doesn't have to be exactly her.
That's true.
What a twist!
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to get all kinds of the nightmare weapons, which have the same kind of ghosty, glowy thing as the Ascalonian Catacombs weapons, which is awesome because I love that effect.
Right.
Mhm.
Me too.
And there's a new back piece that looks like a big generator, I guess is the best
I
way
like
to put
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super cool. And
You're welcome, engineers.
Yeah, yeah. And there's also going to be aether chests spread out across. Is it the world? Oh, across the Maguma jungle. You basically have to find those to form a key that can open up chests inside that dungeon. So that's
Yeah,
going to be
that's pretty
interesting to see what those are. But
I've
yeah,
expressed
it's
it
gonna be cool.
before that I think scavenger hunts are, as long as they're not essential to the story, that scavenger hunt type, I don't know, call them events or whatever, hidden within the game are definitely one of the better things, in my opinion. Not saying to make it essential to the story or whatever, but if it's there, like, it sounds like you probably don't need to gather up these pieces to make a key to open a chest in Twilight Arbor. It's not going to be essential to your playing through Twilight Arbor,
Yeah.
but it'll make you want to do it if that's your thing. So that's good. I like.
But, I mean, remember how much fun we had with the Halloween event and we did the scavenger hunt, but the hints, like, I really felt like they've dumbed it down since then because the hints like were really cool. Like we, going around like seeing words, picking out what was important and finding where it was. That was a lot of fun. And I really want something like that again, kind of a reward for, not reward, but something to use with the fact that I've explored everywhere and the fact that I know a lot of stuff about what's going on in the world, and I want to use that for like a scavenger hunt. But that can be like a sort of other mini game or something like that.
That was my entire inspiration for that statement. Actually, was the Halloween scavenger hunt, because that I feel.
Yeah.
No. You're no. I'm kind of glad, because I was gonna talk about how we went and did that for me, so that's fine. But I think that was one of the best examples of updated content. And again, I beat this dead horse over and over and over again about how Halloween was the best update. And in my mind, anyway, the best update. And again, it's got. Are you okay over there, Naveen? Did you find it? I think she found the spider.
My cat's playing in the trash.
But again, it's got nostalgia. It was the first real update. It was Halloween, so it's got nostalgia. But that scavenger hunt, again, it wasn't really essential to anything. It wasn't like a big deal, but you got the cool backpack item if you knew where to go. And I like that. Like, it requires you have some knowledge of the game. It's not just like, bling, up in the corner, go to whatever location, or check your achievement thing so it spoils it for you and you know where to go.
Yeah.
Well, we are getting those treasure map things sometime. So hopefully that will kind of scratch that itch, because I appreciate sites like Dolphy and things like that, but at the same time, it's always a little unfortunate when the new content comes out and everyone already knows where to go for like the scavenger hunty type things. It's cool to like find those, get in a group of people and go find them all yourself, but it's harder to do that when people are already going there because they know exactly where to go and they're just shouting
you
it in
see like
map
a
chat.
Zerg running there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there's probably something over there, guy. Yeah, so
I have to admit, I fell in love with Dolphy just for the fact of doing Tribulation mode, because when MB and I went through Tribulation mode, the first one, it was way too long. Because we were together and we were laughing, it was fine. I could deal with that. But when you started doing it by yourself, which you can't do all the things with other people, when I started doing it by myself, it was just too long and boring. Like, to discover it yourself is just really tiresome, and to just be on like 3-hour periods, well, it would be 4 hours if I was doing it myself. I just can't sit at the computer that long without getting up and walking around, or my internet disconnecting. And so in the end, I just went to Dolphy, and I was so thankful because I really enjoyed the jumping and the difficulty. I really enjoy that, but I couldn't do that. Like with Dolphy, it kind of lessened the load down to 2 hours or something like that.
right. Yeah, when I first did Tribulation mode, it took 3 or 4 hours to get through, and I had to listen to the happiest music that I have because otherwise I was like, but yeah.
I like content to be like Halloween.
I thought you were just gonna say I like content.
I like turtles. I like content.
Yeah. No, I enjoy scavenger hunty content, and yeah, unfortunately, everybody knows about Dolphy. And when you zone into a map and you see 5 commander icons in PvE around a spot, you go, I wonder if there's something there. Maybe I've never seen a commander on this map before any other time, but there's 5. I bet you there's something there. But you know what? That's another thing. Again, to go back to Halloween, that was the first month after the game was out, so probably a lot of people didn't have 100 gold to just blow on a commander icon.
Yeah.
So there were no commanders to go find, So that could also be part of it as well. But that's really all we know about this upcoming patch, other than the little video that we found that Scarlett put out where she laughs maniacally through the whole video.
I love
But-
Scarlet. I see so many posts of people going, Scarlet's not, she's not a great villain. She doesn't have any interest or lore or anything like that. And I'm like, but I love her. She's so cool.
I just,
Great. Yeah.
I find my best analogy of how I would describe Scarlet to somebody else. She's a villain, but she's like Bugs Bunny and we're all Elmer Fudd. That's the equivalent of Scarlet as a villain. That's what I think. It's goofy and it's silly, and she just takes advantage of how dumb our player characters are and the world that we're in. Like Queen Jenna. And
She
everybody
actually, but her writing is amazing. At the end of the dungeon, her dungeon in DR, God, makes sense. At her dungeon at the end, she has that speech at the end, and I was genuinely affected by that speech because she's like, so have fun. No, have fun because I'm going to really screw you up after this, like, and that sort of, you've made my list and stuff like that. It's really kind of a sense of a lot of evil underneath that, and I really got into that, and I felt that. And I don't. Maybe other people don't feel that like the way that I did.
I like her so far quite a bit. I think at the end of the year, when everything comes together, I think she'll get a lot deeper than she is right now. But obviously it's intentional that we don't know a lot about her. Admittedly, I don't know if I was quite as affected at the end, although that was probably just because I wasn't paying attention to it as much as I should have. But yeah, she's a cool villain to me because she seems to have a purpose. It's not just like, I'm evil because ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think a lot of people didn't read the lore about her going into this Azuran machine and the fact that she was never called Scarlet before and she came out a completely different person. And it kind of makes me wonder, was she taken over? Did she see some, I don't know if we can swear.
Yeah, we can.
Crap.
Did she see some shit that she that saw some really heavy shit that she just made her go crazy, or that she has actually a little bit of lore, and the fact that she kind of, after that lore, she kind of seemed to have a purpose, or more of a purpose. I don't know what that purpose is, but there's definitely something there.
I'm still going for her.
I like it. I think that's hilarious.
Oh my
Traherne got
God.
so much flack from everybody in the pact about how he took everybody's credit that he turned people and disguised himself.
Like, fine,
Where
I'll show
he's
you.
been, he's doing a crappy job cleansing ore over there. So he turned to cross-dressing. And I mean, Savari don't really seem like they care too much about gender, so no one would really judge him.
He just used the makeover kit and switched her around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would like to point out. Sorry, chill there. I'll paste the link there, and I'm sorry. Somebody mentioned the new skill-looking animation for the link that I just posted in the Twitch, which shows what looks like the dude from the Molten facility in the background there. What the hell was it, Molten Berserker or whatever that was. But the Elementalist with the brand new staff has that weird kind of, looks like a spade with a heart inside it above their head.
Yeah.
With and if that's a new skill animation, a brand new skill entirely, if they just added like a weird the
It could be
signet.
like a buff or something that you get from, who knows? Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it could be, they could just update, how when you use a signet, what's the thing above your head? Maybe
It's odd because she's attuned to magic. I don't know about the Savari animation, but I thought they were generally human. With the girl swinging her water magic, her finger goes like points.
Mhm.
It goes underarm and then like.
Oh, I
that's
know.
what I thought.
Yeah.
And this one, she's got her hand like
Yeah, I get what
that.
you're
So.
saying. Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's definitely, like you said, definitely attuned to water.
I think there's two, because there's one where she goes underhand to throw it, and there's another one, but I don't remember what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't play Elementalist enough to pay attention.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, maybe it is a buff or something to do with Scarlet. Maybe it has something to do with cards and suits and things, because it looks like a spade. Actually, it looks not a spade. It's a water droplet with a heart inside it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is a new. I mean, yeah, I would agree with people here in the chat that it's probably some sort of healing of some kind.
It could be a marker like the Jade Maw when you're gonna get owned by his laser beam.
That's when the Molten Berserker is gonna hug you. Have to bring a heart on it.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to the Molten Berserker coming back because they were just a horrible allusion to wrestling.
It was amazing
And-
what you're talking about.
One of them was like the dumb one, and the Dredge voice made me want to claw his eyes out.
Okay, that's a little graphic, but all right.
Violent. Casey is violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not attacking the voice actor because I'm pretty sure they did a pretty good Dredge voice, but any Dredge voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it looks. I'm interested to see where it's gonna go. Ultimately, though, I really hope it doesn't, and I really hope that Scarlet doesn't replace anything to do. Like, if the Mad King does come back in some form, I hope that Scarlet doesn't replace that, because I'm gonna walk
A lot
away.
of people are gonna be pissed if
I'm gonna walk away for a while.
I was gonna say that's gonna be a lag rant. if
Like that's I'm just gonna
quit the game. Rage
Jetpack
quit.
out of here.
here's my microphone, and I'm out, and then I'm just gone. But yeah, that's not gonna be, that won't fly with me.
I think it's most likely that she will try to resurrect the Mad King.
And I'm fine with that, but they better, he's been a tradition for 8 years, and you're gonna stop that for Scarlet? That's
Nah.
gonna cause, again,
Oh no, girlfriend! No, you didn't.
like I said, there's going to be 3 updates in October. 3 living stories in October, the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th. So it's possible that you could come in the middle of the month. They might just have it come in on the 29th and just leave on Halloween, even if it's only 2 days.
Maybe
But-
the Mad King is just gonna stop Scarlet himself.
That'd be, oh god.
This is my world.
Yeah.
Like I said, we do know that one of the previous living story, they removed the ability to make the crossing, arachnophobia, and the Mad Moon from the the Mystic Forge. Those are gone. You cannot craft them right now. But they said they will be returning for Halloween. So it's going to happen at some point, but what kind of state we'll see Halloween in, I don't know. So we shall see.
Yep.
She's pretty chaotic, so it could be a quick way to try to break seals for the Lunatic Court. Still clinging to that hope. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Alright. Well, I think that's probably going to do it for us, huh?
Yes. Let's
All
get
right.
out of that basement filled with spiders.
Oh, yeah. Alright. So I guess for episode number 64 of the Chronicles of Tyria podcast, I am Lagywn.
Bromms.
She's Casey.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Naveen.
And we'll see you next time. I'm sorry, everyone.